Transitioning into a digital nomad lifestyle can feel overwhelming. Plain and simple, even after 2 years of it, I still don't have this thing all figured out. But in this video today, I'm going to share some tips and some lessons I've learned along the way to hopefully make things a lot simpler and easier for you. Welcome back to the channel, friends. If you're new here, I'm Trevor, and on this channel, we cover all things that I've been learning and that I'm continuing to learn on my journey of building a life and a business that I love. And in this video today, we're going to get into the reality of the digital nomad lifestyle. Really all the things that I wish I had learned back when I started this 2 years ago in the middle of a pandemic, the things that I've now developed and that I'd hope to be able to save you from really having to learn these lessons the hard way. And it's going to be, talking about some of the truths that I've discovered along my journey. So I hope you guys like it. Let's dive in, shall we? Now, I kicked off my nomadic lifestyle at the beginning of 2022 in the middle of lockdowns. And over these last 2 years, I really learned that it can be such a roller coaster of a ride, right? When you get into this lifestyle as a digital nomad, you are pretty much giving up all things stability, right? You're losing stable Wi-Fi. You're losing a stable social circle. Right, you're in transient communities, and it's a transient lifestyle. Even if you're setting up in camp for one place for a long time, you're still going to have a lack of stability in a lot of the things that you might know and love, like routine, like friends, like Wi-Fi. Right, so being able to embrace this lack of stability is one of the biggest things that, I feel like the classic resume answer for me would have been always a strength of adaptability and resourcefulness. And even with these things, I felt like I had in my toolkit, I still was challenged. I was still reminded by this to see, no, you need to really be able to embrace the lack of stability, and being able to have strategies in place to overcome that is going to be what makes the biggest difference when you get thrown curveballs that you're not ready for, and focusing on, as the Stoics say, what's in your control, right? So take a moment to really recognize you're going to have a lot of things that are in your control, a lot of things that aren't, and preparing yourself with those that are is going to be really the best way that I've found personally to overcome the lack of stability that we have in a lot of the other ways. All right, so this is one lesson that I would tell myself: don't overlook it. Be ready for this lack of stability and have fun with the process and enjoy the journey. It's a good time. Don't worry about it, but be prepared and get ahead of it. Simple as that. To give you guys an example on this, when I first started my journey, I kicked things off in not the cheapest country, but maybe one that was more safe seeming, more, easy to transition into, so to say, in Costa Rica. Right? But I was on a full-blown vacation. I didn't know what I was doing. I jumped into the Selena Co-Live, and I thought, well, clearly people do this because it's there for a reason. But I was jumping location to location every 10 days with other nomads, luckily from the Americas, that were in the same boat of trying on the lifestyle, new to it, and transitioning into it. But it was just a lot of fun, and we had to learn that, okay, maybe we weren't going to get as much work done as we thought. Maybe it was time to realize I've got to just go surfing when the tide is high. I've got to maybe just put in some work on the weekend because the rains are coming over, and we'll take a sunny day midweek to catch up and enjoy the adventures we had planned. Maybe there's just going to have to be a general sense of, this week's going to be a grind week because I took all last week off to go and explore. And that's okay. That's just part of the lifestyle. You might get called for an adventure, or you might get called to go and find a new client because budgets are getting cut. Whatever the shift and change that you're going to be thrown into your environment, being prepared for it as well as you can, and being okay with what changes and having some grace with yourself when you're finding that you're not navigating those changes as well as you'd hope, is some of the best advice I'd probably give my old self when getting started on this journey. Next up, let's talk finances, right? Let's talk money. It's the foundational piece that we all need, obviously, to survive and to thrive, and one that we think that we can overlook maybe sometimes because, hey, we're going places with cheaper cost of living. But in those first 2 months, I realized that cost of living was not that cheap in Costa Rica, especially at the pace that I was traveling and with the things that we were putting into our schedules. I was blowing through the cash in the bank pretty quick, and I was just, about at the level of sustaining myself with the freelance income I had at the time. So as soon as that, client would have a month delay in work, or I'd have a, new adventure that was calling to me, I'd all of a sudden realize that, oh shit, there might be more to this that I need to plan out, and that I might want to either get better at tracking my finances, keeping a budget while abroad just because things are cheaper, or go where it's way cheaper and you don't really have to worry about budgeting all that much. But finding ways to find cheaper alternatives to reduce expenses, or on the income side, really making sure that I had those things locked in. I would recommend to anyone getting started, or to my old self, have a good buffer in the monthly cash flow, right? Have enough of a surplus in what you're earning versus what you're projecting that you're going to be spending, because you never know when that next adventure is going to be calling, when a friend that you meet is going to be taking off to some cool weekend trip that you want to be a part of. And you don't want to be in a position to say no to these things if you can be on top of it and proactively be in a place to say yes, right? We're here to enjoy the journey, embrace those new and exciting experiences all along the way. And if you can cut the costs when you need to, and you can have a little bit of buffer room in your savings or in your monthly cash flow, these two things will really help sustain the lifestyle and make sure that you're not getting stressed out and burnt out trying to jump between the seasons of things, but also being okay with that. And we'll get into that in a point later on in this video. So how about making friends on the road, right? I feel like from anyone I've talked to here in Toronto, as I'm back home visiting for a little while, it seems like it's really hard to go meet people, right? Whether you're going to the bars or you're on an intramural sports team, these were the ways that we might have met friends in university and college. And it might be a little bit trickier once you're settled into a lifestyle with your, 9 to 5, with your day-to-day lifestyle, maintaining, the balance that you need to thrive in a busy sort of city commuter kind of lifestyle. But when it comes to life as a digital nomad, if you put yourself out there and put yourself in the right places, it really can be pretty simple. There's a lot of Facebook groups, there's a lot of WhatsApp chats, there's a lot of meetups going on in a lot of these different nomad hubs. So I think being strategic with knowing how much socializing you really want, what kind of degree of, extroversion or introversion you have for yourself will give you a lot more of a strong, solid understanding of what you want to set yourself up for, right? So whether it's meetup.com, Facebook, or WhatsApp, you're going to find a lot of places where there's things to do. You can set yourself up by putting yourself into, like I mentioned, the Selena Co-Live, which was a great experience for us to do in our, couple stays in Latin America. Great way to meet people. Great way to get yourself involved in the community, or to show up at the Selenas or other hostels in a place you're at, right? Joining a co-work, joining a gym, joining some events that are going on in a city where the nomads are hanging out is going to make it so easy to really overcome some of the barriers. And if you're worried, everyone else is probably in the same boat. They're all there to make, new friends, to have a good time, to share experiences and collaborate, connect with others. So get out there if you want to meet people, and it'll be a good time, and it'll be a lot easier than you think. That's all I can say on that front. Have fun with it. And, we've made some really good friends where find that you meet up from one Selena to the next across our travels in Costa Rica, or from one country to the next across Latin America, or even having friends that we've met through Latin America that we've met up with again in Asia. Like, the Nomad community is smaller than you think, even though it's ever growing. And, everyone's pretty like-minded and like-hearted, and we'll all have a good time and support each other. So get out there and have some fun with it. Okay, next up, let's talk about really making the most of your experience on the road. This is one question I've got a lot, where how the hell do you stay productive? How do you actually get your work done? How are you actually paying the bills to sustain the lifestyle? And while we could talk about how some places are cheaper than others, and you don't actually need that much money each month to sustain the lifestyle in certain locations, which has been a nice perk of the lifestyle, right? At the end of the day, you got to find some way to be productive. It's not all that fun just to hang out on a beach and surf every single day. You want to find some balance. You want to make sure you're growing and achieving your goals as well. So some of the things that I've found that have been helpful on this are, things I've talked about in a full couple of videos, which you can check out in the description below. And I'll link that one up here in the video too. But really getting around the blocks that we might have with productivity, right? You've got a desk, you've got a monitor, maybe you've got certain things that trigger a positive work environment for you, whether that's getting to the cafe or the co-work space and you can't work from your own apartment. So either find the Airbnb that has the comfortable desk chair and a dedicated working space. They've got filters for that now, which sometimes are better than some than others. Or get out and get yourself a co-working membership if that's what's going to make the difference for you. If you can thrive in a busy cafe, go and do that. If you need, noise canceling headphones to be able to make that environment work for you, get yourself prepared and get ahead of it. But I think at the end of the day, recognizing that your work-life balance is going to shift, and that you're going to have to put yourself into the spaces where you can get your best work done intentionally, with the systems, with the habits, with the strategies that I've covered in some of these other videos, it'll become so much easier for you. And you recognize that you're not going to get great work done if you're sitting beachside, hanging out with a bunch of people trying to call you into the waves. It's not going to be as productive for you if you're trying to work for 1 hour blocks in between, trips to the bar, right? Generally speaking, following the same principles that you might apply from any other working environment. And if you need some tools and some tricks on how to do that, I've got you covered. I think one thing that I sometimes lose sight of and that I'm constantly trying to remind myself of, like I said, I'm not perfect, I'm still learning these lessons for myself, is to really embrace the journey. Like, have fun with the fuck we're doing. Like, this lifestyle we've designed for ourselves was made for a reason, right? Remind yourself why you're doing it, get yourself reconnected to the vision. And although we've got maybe growth ambitions with our business, maybe we've got ambitions to go and see the whole world, we're only in the place that we're at this point in time for so long. And it really, as cheesy as a line is, just embrace the moment, right? If you're focused on grinding and you feel like you've decided that you're not going to go on every single adventure that you might be able to go on, embrace that season and go hard on the business front while it's time to go and double down on that, right? If you're in a season of exploration, and like I will be in a couple months, hopefully taking off a couple of weeks to go do some diving in Thailand after doing my first dive in the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. I'm stoked to get really into that and feel fruits of my labor coming together for myself, right? So finding a way of understanding what balance means for you, which I'll also go deeper on in another video, is going to be paramount to you really feeling like you've got a good grasp on this lifestyle. So that means every day is going to be the ideal day or the optimal day, and you're going to have the right balance of fitness, of health, of focus, of good work, of friends, and with adventure. You can make it all fit to the balance that you want, but just recognize that, sometimes trying to have all levels at the same time being as high as they can be might be challenging. And sometimes you just gotta, accept that you gotta have some grace with yourself, as I mentioned, and enjoy the ride, have fun with the place you're at, and get as much good work done as you can. And then leave those boundaries to close that workday down and go meet some people, go enjoy the sunset, go have fun, because, we're here doing this for the balance and to enjoy the lifestyle at the end of the day, right? Now, whether you're just getting started on this nomadic journey, whether you're a seasoned vet stumbling across this video, somewhere in between, I want to know what your focus is, what you thought about, what you're worried about with this lifestyle, and look at those questions or those considerations, whether it's sustainability, whether it's, financial freedom, or just being able to enjoy your day-to-day life as much as you damn please. Think about what that really means to you and why you're doing it. Right? I think as long as we can keep reconnecting to our vision for our future, and that we're living a lifestyle that's aligned with what's going to get us there, this is a great way to live. And we know that there's some drawbacks to it. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. We're not going to always be working on the beach, but at the end of the day, if we can make this work for ourselves and in helping us build the future that we want, we're not hurting people along the way, then let's have fun and make it work, right? All right, friends, I want you to reflect on your journey. Leave some comments below. Let others know what you're thinking about this and what you want to see more of on this channel. Like and subscribe. And until the next one, let's keep learning and growing together as a community. Take care.